welcome back to Hack and Splash Page. I am Tiffany, and today I want to talk to you guys about a book that's written by Ivan Brendan with art by Nick Klein. That book's Drifter, which is not to be confused with Grifter, who's a character from the Wildcats comic and cartoon show that I liked so well when I was a kid. Wildcats. Anyway, so while I was in the comic book store, which usually I'm there kind of with no aim, just wandering around, I happened to notice this book over in the corner. It was in the corner. They do it alphabetically. That's just where it ended up. And there it was with its beautiful art and its silhouetted guy. And I thought to myself, that looks cool. You know what? Let me take a look and see if they have issue 1. Because this was issue 2. And I was like, oh, they had this variant cover. So I was like, okay, well, let's check it out. And I got to here and I was like, okay. And then I got to the next set of pages and I was like, oh, yes. And I just picked those up and I walked my butt up to the register and I bought them and I came home and I read them and I really liked them. Actually, at this point, they came out with issue 3. I haven't had a chance to get to the comic book store, kind of due to scheduling and snow. So I'm 1 issue behind. I could get it digitally, but the art in this is so great. I want it in print, so it's not going to happen until I get there. Probably this Wednesday. We'll see what happens. Anyway, let's get into the story. This is another one of those stories I really don't want to spoil for you guys. I swear one of these days I'm going to do a story where I don't mind spoiling it for you guys, but as of yet, I'm not going to with this one. I'm sorry, this is not going to happen. So I'm going to try and give you a really quickie overview of like half of the first issue, because the second half of the first issue contains a kind of like smack in the face right on the last page. Not even a smack in the face, it's just like, oh, I can't wait to pick up issue 2, which I already had, so yay. Anyway, we're talking space, you know, and I like pop sci-fi. Is that a word? I don't think that's a word. Anyway, I like, you know, Star Wars, original trilogy, only, and Firefly and stuff like that, so this kind of like spoke to me, you know, when I started flipping through it in the store, because that's where we start. We're in space, and we follow the protagonist. I believe his name is Pollock, and he is actually crashing. He's in a fairly large ship, and it is plummeting towards a planet. And when we next see him, he is emerging from a lake and is now in this alien world, and we immediately meet some alien life that's there, and he has a particularly strong reaction to those, and then they're out of the picture. And by page 5, this man has survived a horrific space crash and then is shot in the gut. So I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I guess this isn't our protagonist, but he is. He wakes up and he's in a pioneer space western town. It's the kind of place where you kind of expect to see some sort of space version of Doc Brown shoeing horses, you know, over in the blacksmithing hut. And that's what these people are. They're apparently they seem to be humans, and they've settled on this planet, and they're trying to, you know, eke out a life there. People do a lot of double duty, that kind of thing. The person who saved him, she's a medic / doctor and also a sheriff. So that kind of, I don't know, that kind of thing really makes it feel more realistic. Like, this is the people they had, and we got to do what we got to do in these parts in order to survive. The story just kind of goes on from there, where we're trying to discover, or he's trying to discover, our protagonist, what's going on. You know, he kind of wants to get back to his ship. You know, he wants to figure out who shot him, and why. He runs into this guy in the bar and he takes off, and of course there's a bar, by the way. You know, we're talking, you know, space western town. There's a bar, it's a saloon, it's awesome. Issue 1 ends, and there's a fairly significant what moment at the end of it, and I'm so glad, again, just to have issue 2 just ready to go. And in issue 2, you know, the story just rolls on, and there's not even a moment, honestly, for the character to really think too much about the information he learned from issue 1, because some action picks up in this, and we're introduced to like a roving gang of scavengers, and we also get to learn more about the fauna of this planet. So honestly, by the time I was done with this, I'm super excited and to pick up issue 3. I can't wait. Alright, let's get into the writing. So Ivan Brendan, from what I know, has written some stuff for Marvel. I don't know much about that, I have to be honest with you. And that's nothing against him. I don't usually read much of Marvel stuff unless it's handed to me, in particular for certain other shows that we do, like Off the Rack or Back Issues, so you should check those out when you have a chance. But what I do know about him is that he knows how to write a story. The story is engaging. It definitely has that Western feel to it, but set in this space kind of future setting. I keep doing all these future books. I don't know what that says about me. The dialogue is great. You know, it's fairly fluid. You get a real feel for these people. Especially the people of the town. They're hardened. You know, they're doing this day in, day out, doing what they can, and it's kind of about survival, it feels like. Pollux, the main protagonist, there's a certain tone that he uses and a certain manner in which the protagonist has these thoughts, and he leaves out words or has a certain turn of phrase that he'll use, and sometimes my brain tries to autocorrect that, which really messes up the flow of the overall story, and I have to go back and reread it. It didn't take me long to get over that, and I find it to be very engaging, and it really helps to, I don't know, you just really get a good sense for this guy with this style of writing, you know, being in his head. A lot of comics do that, but he's talking the way he would think. You know, or he's thinking the way he would talk. That's what I should say. And it just, I don't know, it's cool. Like, he doesn't think any more intelligently than he normally would. And I just think that's very charming, and I like it quite a bit. The story, what can I say about the story? I'm so in right now. I don't know where it's going, and I'm very excited. Look, I really loved the original Planet of the Apes, that kind of thing. Like, that quick, like, end of the movie, you know, like, what? Kind of surprise. And that's kind of how I felt a little bit at the end of the first issue. Like, what? So, you know, I'm in. I want to see where this guy goes with this. Let's talk about the art, because honestly, I wouldn't have picked up this book were it not for Klein's cover art on issue 2. This guy's art is unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. For me, he has the kind of talent that people would pay money for. He not only does the line art in this, he also colors it. So the entire art is cohesive. Like, it's, I don't even know what to say. It's just so good. His interiors are great. The panels are composed excellently. The people they're just amazingly rendered, and they're consistent from panel to panel. You know, there's a lot of detail to them, and he keeps it consistent throughout the book, and I absolutely love that. He has a fairly varied line style and a certain sketchy quality to it that really fits perfectly with the style of this gritty Western style story, but his colors have this amazing painterly quality to it. He wants you to know that they are art and that it's been painted. It's just amazing. And his handle on color, I mean, I happen to select two of the blue covers. I believe this is a variant, so he didn't do this one, but the actual original cover on this, which I'm pretty sure was probably made a picture right around here or over my face or whatever, is this like brilliant, warm, fiery orange color. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. His shadows are excellent. They're deep. I can't say enough. You gotta check it out. He does some things in this book with the art that, like, I don't even know. Every page is a joy to look at, which is why, again, I can't wait to actually get my hands on a physical copy of 3 instead of the digital version of it. What I wanted to say about this book is what I'm getting from it right now is this really sort of like humanistic story, like about exploration. Really, if you want to, you know, try to connect this to something else, you just think about, you know, the settlers and the pioneers going west along, you know, the Oregon Trail. Not to be confused with that game. I never made it. Everybody died. You know, that feeling of going out there, and even though, sure, it's one big country, it was an alien landscape in a sense. And they were just heading out there for the first time. Who knows what was going to happen? And that's kind of what I get the feel for not only the people in the town, in Drifter, but in in Pollux, our protagonist himself. He's out there. He has nothing left of the life that he once knew. And he is just fending for himself in this new, exciting alien landscape. I don't know. I really like that style of Western, you know. Certainly there are those, you know, like we're going to have like possibly a showdown, like gunslinger style of Western. That's there too. But I like the fact that there is a lot of that, you know, old pioneer style, you know, of story going on here, and I'm excited to see it, you know, intertwined with this space story. So one thing I want to mention that I forgot to mention when I was talking about the writing in Brandon's work, I thought it was really cool. There is a creature in issue 2 that they run into, and the sheriff slash medic, she mentions that they call it a bear, and there's this rumor kind of that when American settlers first ran into bears, as we know them here, they didn't know what else to call them, so they called them bear, which is like a Germanic word that roughly translates into that brown thing. So presumably they were going to come up with a better name, and it just kind of got lost, so now they're bears. And if that's what he's referring to, damn, that is clever and awesome to make that kind of reference in this book. So suffice it to say, I'm pretty excited about this. This is kind of up my alley. So if you're into space stuff, if you're into like that Western feel in your space, style book, if you're into even like just action space stories, I definitely recommend it as a pickup. If you guys crash landed on this alien world and were put into some sort of Western style space pioneer action adventure town scenario, what's the first thing you guys would do? Would you go to the saloon? Would you make sure you had your 6-shooter or laser 6-shooter or whatever you want to call it? Would you try to get a ride out of there? What would you guys do? Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, if you don't get a chance to pick up individual issues of indie books, let the publishers know that you're interested in getting the trade paperback. Otherwise, the books tend to sometimes get canceled if they don't think there's any interest in it. Get out there, support them, use your voice, social media, whatever. Let them know, okay? Otherwise, I will see you guys next week for another exciting episode of Hack and Splash Page. I don't think I can really describe this show as exciting, but whatever, I did it anyway. So, see you guys next time. No, but seriously, I don't know. I don't know why you guys do hate on Jean Grey a lot. I mean, the fact
she's
is
so lame. It's the only superhero in the X-Men who doesn't have a freaking code name.
She used to.
No, Marvel Girl.
Phoenix.
No, the first one was Marvel.
By the way, I really do respect the fact that she's just called Jean Grey instead of Marvel Girl. Can you imagine like this 30-year-old woman running around and being like, "And I'm Marvel Girl"?
Well, no,
Well, it's like Silk Spectre when she's really old. She's like, "I used to be Silk Spectre," and you're like, "Yeah, but you're not anymore."
No.
Stop associating with
like
that.
the Gray Fog. The Marvel Girl would have been called Marvel Woman.
Marvel Woman.
Yeah, like the Invisible Girl used to be the
Well,
Invisible Girl.
she doesn't have to have any.
Can't you just be called Marvelous?
Marvelous? I don't know. I'm marvelous! I don't know, that should go for a Carol. That should go for a North Star or something.
She's codenamed the Phoenix. Because
They do say that, actually.
Hellboy is always Hellboy.
Yeah.
That's his name, though.
And?
So Jean Grey's the lamest code name. My code name is Sal.